Since 1976, Trinidad and Tobago has observed the month of November as Black History Month. And to wrap things up, this morning we are joined by Mr. Kieran Regis, the Public Relations Officer of the Oje Egungun Society for Ancestral, Veneration and Cultural Revivalism. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Alongside Mr. Cody Hector, the Chairman, who will give us some insights on a fantastic festival that will enlighten us even more on how we can continue to celebrate Black History Month throughout Trinidad and Tobago. So, gentlemen, welcome again and good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you very much.
To Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you so much for being here and for sharing the knowledge, because there's quite a bit to go through. So, jumping straight into the conversation, Karen, I want you to give us a bit of an introduction, if you will, as to, first of all, if we translate into English, what does Oje Egungun mean? And what is the Society for Ancestral Veneration and Cultural Revivalism doing?
Okay. So Oje Egungun Society is actually a community-based society that is dedicated towards actually developing or re-establishing that cohesiveness with society, and also that cohesiveness spiritually through the healing of ancestral traumas. Right? If you look at the society right now, what you're going to see, look at the violence in schools, you know, the high rate of crime in the country. And we in Oje, we actually believe that this is a side effect of our separation from our spirituality and our separation from our lineage or ancestors. I would even go as far as to say that in ancient times in Africa, they would have certain rites and festivals where the ancestors would manifest, and they would then create the atmosphere for socialization, for us to be in harmony. And the side effect of that was actually that those energies that would create that atmosphere for crime would disappear. The energies would drive away these malevolent spirits.
Got it. So whether or not you're part of that belief, the fact that you're talking about essentially a deviation from our spirituality being a major cause of the problem, I'm sure everybody could get on board with that concept. I get it. But then let's go a little deeper. Cody, tell me a little bit of, or if you can condense, what ancestral veneration is.
To put it, I'll try to condense it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna try. But ancestral veneration is something that is a very broad topic, because every single person that walks this earth has ancestors. It doesn't matter your race, your denomination, your religious belief. All of us have parents and grandparents. So when it comes to ancestral veneration, it doesn't cover, or it isn't specific to one particular group of people. It's something that any and everybody could get into. And it's something that has been proven to be successful within other nations who held on to their ancient beliefs and cultures. More specifically, if you look into the Eastern Hemisphere, I'd like to say, where the Japanese, the Chinese, the Asians, and a lot of people in the Middle East as well, all still venerate their ancestors. When you go into their house, there's pictures of the ancestors, there's incense or items that the ancestors might like around the picture. All of this is considered ancestral veneration, right? However, with Oje, what we do is we specify that ancestral veneration to the West African style, which is where the majority of the African diaspora in the Caribbean comes from. Right. So within that part there, for Oje, the ancestral veneration that we do is mostly about wearing the masquerade, and as he said, coming out with the masquerade and chasing away the negative and malevolent energies in the community.
Well, that definitely answers the questions of how we're going to do things. I know it's a brief description, so you didn't give us all the details, but we're going to go straight into the festival then, because that is what this is.
Yes.
Us actually doing actions
yes.
to ward away those spirits, as you both explained.
Right.
Tell me dates, times, locations.
Well, there's an ancestral night on the 8th of December at Light Pole 81 Komuto Road. That will be an all-white event. Starts at 7 p.m. That will more be towards venerating the ancestors part of the process, right? And on the 10th at San Rafael Community Center, there'll be the Egungun Festival, where the masquerades will come out. They will dance for the community, walk through the community, and by that action, clear the community of any negative or malevolent forces, right? Because in Odu Ifa, which is what West African spirituality is based upon, because they practice what is called Ifa, right? In Odu Ifa, Otura Ogbe, I believe it is, as a verse. Basically a verse, Otura Ogbe, yes. It speaks about ancestor called Obanba, who his ancestor, who was a witch, sacrificed him for their own gain and was planning to do the same with his children and his grandchildren. And he came back as an ancestor to stop that witch from doing the same to his children and his grandchildren. And what he did was tell them, listen, I have your back, put on the masquerade, and go outside there with confidence and courage and chase away these malevolent forces. And every year, once you do the same thing is going to happen. They're not going to come, they're not going to enter the community, they're going to stay away. And not only the one that is your ancestor, but all are the malevolent forces. So that's why every year we do our annual Egungun Festival.
Right. Now, we understand the ritual, but Kieran, let me ask you then, in terms of participation, do we need to be a part of simply the space that this is occurring in, or a part of the religious group? How do we partake? Are there any prerequisites, if you will?
Well, one of the things that he would have stated about, the ancestral night is all right. In regards to the actual Egungun Festival, you can just be present. The masqueraders, no. Let me elaborate a bit more. Now, when the Egungun Festival actually takes place, it will actually comprise of various lineages of ancestors that will return. And they will give guidance, they will give support. If you need assistance financially, imagine this. Imagine you having the capability to tap into all the memories of your ancestors and think about what that can do for you in your present life, gaining from all the knowledge and the experiences that they have. That is what the Egungun Festival is actually about, being able to tap into that ancestral memory and then allowing that to manifest in your present life. Okay. And the side effect of that, which is a good side effect, as Cody would have mentioned, is that when the ancestors come, because they want us to live in peace and to live in harmony, all the malevolent energies that would be affecting your family, that would be affecting your community, they will be driven away as well.
So what you're describing to me then is not just a performance, not just physically being there, as we say, coming out and putting on a masquerade,
Correct.
But the education will take place first, and what we are actually experiencing is the guidance and the expression of our ancestors. Correct. Executing that driving away, if you will. Yes?
Correct. Yes.
All right, so we have good context. Now, that is a lot to happen, so I understand that we will have more than one day to do so.
Yes.
As far as the persons who cannot make it there physically, though, in terms of partaking of this otherwise, I understand that there is a platform that we can explore.
Right.
So I'd like you to tell me a little bit more about that, Cody.
All right, that platform is called the Osameji Ancestral Healing Temple. And it's a platform that is basically dedicated towards revivalizing that beautiful, rich tapestry of West African culture and art and garb, everything. So within that platform, we plan to educate anybody who's willing to learn on the nuances of food, clothes, drumming, the language that they speak. So it's a platform that more centers around reconnecting with West Africa through common ground than basically trying to impart this knowledge and force it on anybody's throat. It's more about a reconnection with the ancestors and our quote-unquote brothers and sisters, because they too would be descendants of the same ancestors, right? So that's what the platform is about. It's about educating people about the dress, the drumming, the dance, the food, all the things that make Africa such a rich culture or such a rich civilization.
And things that we may not have been able to access before.
Correct.
Because one of the things we always talk about with slavery is how much we are uncertain of in terms of origins, or how many things we were not allowed to practice or even partake of.
Right.
So what you're describing is almost like an encyclopedia that
Correct.
we can access, specifically to West African culture, yes?
Specifically to West African culture.
This means that it is digital, it is tangible, it is a physical space.
It's a digital space right now. It's planned to be scaled into a physical space sometime within the next, I say, 5 years. But right now it's a digital space, and we have set up Zoom to make that connection between anybody, whether they be Trinidad, Tobago, the Caribbean, because we have people who have been interested well across the Caribbean and some people outside of the Caribbean. So
Understand.
that's how we meeting them right now digitally. But we do plan to have a physical space where people could come and attend and sit and learn the cultures of their ancestors.
It sounds quite interesting, enlightening, and of course something that we want people to continuously connect with. So can you tell me, how do we do that connecting through multiple platforms? Any handles, websites, or anything that you can share with us this morning?
Presently, we have a space on Facebook where you can type in Oje Egungun Society, and persons can access us from on Facebook at this present time. And just all you need to do is a message your page, and someone will respond.
I hope so. Highly active, because I know this morning we've started a bunch of conversations.
Right.
When we talk about this festival, though, this is not the first of its kind in the sense of, well, at least something that plans to be annual, I hope. When next will we be seeing you, or any sort of version of a continuation of this conversation?
Well, I want to pick up that one by saying, because we are the group that's mandated to revive the culture, we actually have a lot of times where we might be in different spaces all across the country doing this same masquerade, right? But our actual festival does normally happen around this time of the year, October, November-ish, coming out to the end of the year, and this is our 6th annual one, actually. So every year around this time we'll have ours, but there are other spaces that do the Egungun masquerade and the Egungun festival as well. And we also go to those spaces and dance in those communities. So it's a widespread cleansing that we are attempting to do.
We need it.
Right.
I'm sure
And,
anybody would agree.
Yes. So this wouldn't be the last time you're seeing us. I mean, we kind of now getting started, now getting warmed up. So expect to see us in the near future. Hopefully, at some point, we could probably get a feature and y'all will have us back again.
There will need to be more conversation. There is a lot to cover. I mean, I'm very curious as to a few small details that you've mentioned. For example, the fact that obviously it's cleansing. I can associate in my mind the white, but is there any other reason for wearing those specific things? The masquerade that you're referring to, what does that entail? There is so much to explore. And Cody, I feel like you want to give me some insight there?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we have enough time.
We have 2 minutes. 2 minutes, I'll take it.
All right,
So the white, for example.
The white,
am I right in associating that with a cleansing?
Yes, the white is associated with cleansing and purity, calmness, stillness. That's what the white represents within the ancestral veneration night. So that is to bring, as you said, that clean, calm, peaceful setting where we could venerate and give the ancestors, you know, that praise and that celebration that they deserve.
Right.
Right.
What does praise and celebration look like, though, in terms of that masquerade you keep mentioning? Because a Trinidadian, you say masquerade, I think costume.
You think in costume. You think in Carnival Monday and Tuesday.
No, not quite. I'm pretty sure that's not religious enough. But we know that Carnival does have roots in our ancestry. And so I'm interested in what the masquerade might look like.
Well, I don't know if you were at the Cambuleras this year, but we were there. And we danced at the Cambuleras this year in full masquerade. So if you saw that masquerade, then you'll have an ideology of what it would look like in your head. But for the people who weren't there, I'd say this. It's actually a tapestry that consists of something called gogopeyu cloth and like cowrie shells, beads, and it's all sewn together very elaborately into this costume that covers the entire body. Anybody who has on a masquerade, you're not going to know who's in there. You don't see any part of them. So the masquerades would often give the appearance of some form of intimidation or some form of scare tactic, more geared towards the negative energies. And at the same time, they're normally very brightly colored and colorful, which is more geared towards the positive energies feeling comfortable coming towards them, especially people too. Right?
Then I'm glad that you've given us a little bit of insight. I know somebody right now is Googling the Cambuleras to see that outfit again. And for sure, beyond today, we will see, hear, and interact with more of the Oje Egungun Society for Ancestral Veneration and Cultural Revitalization, as they have joined us this morning, making sure we're aware of what's happening and getting ready to add to our calendars another fantastic event across the tapestry of Trinidad and Tobago. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
And of course, you can find out more, but we still have even more for you to add to your calendar after this commercial break here on the Now Morning Show. Stick around, guys.